Greetings! Today I'm going to expose demons and give an actionable plan or method to mitigate their influence. Okay? First, we're going to acknowledge that the kingdom of God is within, and therefore that is how the demons want to attack us, is by influencing our emotional state. This is how they can smell negative emotions, and they harvest those, and they feed on our negative emotions, right? And so they love for us to be in a state of lust, greed, wrath, pride, right? Envy, fatigue, right? This is how they want us to be. So if you're feeling those things, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to scare anybody here, but if we're feeling that way, lethargic, sloth, right? Any of these previous things I've listed off, it's because there is a being standing next to you, touching you, or is probably even on top of like your shoulders, causing a posture deficiency, or it's even trying to infiltrate your body itself and possess you. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you. This is what's going on. Anyhow, they feed off of these negative emotions. Now, I have recently procured this book, which is called The Inner Work, right? The Inner Work, an invitation to true freedom and lasting happiness by Matt and Ash. Now, I actually got this from this website, from TikTok. Okay, so that's where you can find it. Otherwise, try to find it somewhere. I don't know. It looks like that. And we're going to be diving in on what it teaches about how to overcome certain wounds. Now, we'll have the wound of rejection, of judgment, of overwhelm, of loss, of distrust, of inadequacy, of violation, of insecurity, right? And we're doing the inner work, the shadow work, in order to overcome those things such that they do not affect us anymore, and therefore we are free from those particular influences of demons. And then we'll move into the very true reality of the good things. And we'll start with accountability, and then I'll move on in another video. We're going to also reference from a professional source, Jerry Marzinski, how accountability is used in order to combat demons. So we've got a lot coming up. I'm going to do my best. So let's just start right in with the wound of rejection. Okay, the root program here is that we believe that we are unlovable, and we are operating primarily out of the emotion of shame. And so when we have this going on, our defense mechanism is if we're overcompensating, we will be narcissistic, pathologically lying, we'll be megalomaniacs, criminal behavior, and if we're being avoidant with the wound of rejection, then we'll be in isolation, we'll have suicidal ideation, drug and alcohol abuse, and we'll be self-harming. Okay, and then I can tell I'm going to need a couple of videos, excuse me. So the approach to challenges with the wound of rejection is to seek to destroy or hurt. We'll be gaslighting, we'll be in denial, we'll be self-harming, and we will lose control. We heal by the phrase, I am innocent. We recognize our own innocence. I was projected onto. It is teaching me boundaries. So the wound of rejection is actually teaching us how to set boundaries and what is important about boundaries. So some affirmations that are incredibly effective that I've found is, it is healthy for me to identify abuse. I give this shame back to its sender. I am always worthy of love. My life matters. Boundaries are healthy, so I matter. Okay? That's the wound of rejection. Again, this will help you. I'm doing a very Cliff Notes version of how to move through these wounds. The wound of judgment. After we're through rejection, often we project out and begin to judge. So our trigger is the perceived mistakes, and our root program is I am wrong or others are wrong, and I'm feeling primarily the emotion of guilt. Okay, and so the defense mechanism, if we're overcompensating, is we become a perfectionist, OCD, black and white thinking, bipolar, addiction, and we'll be harshly critical. If we're being avoidant, then we'll be indecisive, insecure, people-pleasing, prude, self-punishing. Now, we'll approach challenges by blaming, projecting, harsh judgment, self-punishment, condemnation, and criticizing others and ourselves. The way to heal from judgment is to replace it with natural consequence. It's teaching us to reflect on our choices, and it's teaching us genuine remorse and learning. So some affirmations I found to be effective are, it's okay to make mistakes. I am doing my best. I'm always learning, and natural consequences are not personal. So can you already kind of see how this is helping to remove the demons? Okay. The wound of overwhelm. We're going to be operating primarily out of hopelessness, the emotion of hopelessness. The root program is, what's the point, right? The inability to cope. So our defense mechanism, if we're overcompensating, is to refuse to ask for help. We'll say yes, even if we don't have the capacity. We deny our own limits, and we're self-sacrificing. If we're avoidant, then we'll be depressed, or we'll have dissociative disorders, detached, isolation, anxiety, PTSD, catatonia, and numbness. Approach to challenges with this particular wound of overwhelm is to shut down, detach, abandon hope, and mental and physical breakdown. We'll take on more than we can handle. But how we heal is by allowing our feelings and asking for help. So some of affirmations are, I accept help. To feel is to heal. There is a way out. Yahuwah help me. This will pass. When we overcome the wound of overwhelm, we lead into the wound of loss. And the root program there is that we're resisting change. And the primary emotion here is going to be grief and regret. And the defense mechanism, if we're overcompensating, is attachment disorders, hoarding, clinging, stuck in the past. We're hysterical, we're overly sentimental or dramatic. And if we're avoidant, then we're emotionally cold, calculated, lack of empathy, drug and alcohol abuse, denial of feelings, inability to cry, and our approach to challenges are dramatic or detached. We focus on regrets rather than solutions. But if we're to heal, then we are facing the fear of impermanence and change. And affirmations to help us through this is, I take nothing for granted. Impermanence adds richness to life. I change. Change could be good. I face the fear of the unknown. Okay? Now, we have more wounds here. Before I'm going to create another video. We have more wounds to discuss. These wounds represent the negative emotions that these demons feed on. And so if the powers that be had their way, they would keep us perpetually in one of these wounds. That's why I'm outlining these wounds right now. On the next video, I'll finish the wounds, we'll talk about accountability, and I'll bring in that expert to show how these demons are leveraging these wounds and what is actually taking place and what we can do about it. So stay tuned, make sure that you check out that next video, and I hope that some of this has been incredibly effective for you. I know that I have personally experienced rejection, judgment, overwhelm, right? We'll get into loss, distrust, inadequacy, violation, insecurity, and we'll talk about accountability. Take care.